And we have tomato paste. These would be the primary ingredients for brown stock. All the things that are on this table that I just mentioned. People add other things from time to time, but these would be the primary infrastructure ingredients for making brown stock. One could adulterate, change, modify, enhance, or do, quote, their thing on the brown stock, but it would always include these ingredients, and then maybe something else, which I won't go into because that's not what this particular instructional video is about. This is about how to make brown stock, the traditional, tested and unchallenged way. So we're going to put all these bones in the oven right now. And I just happen to have a whole bunch of ovens lined up here. Of course, one of the great things about this particular kitchen at this academy is the amount of cooking ovens we have. So let's get this in here. Now, the cooking of the vegetables takes place after the bones are cooked. First, we cook the bones, then we take all the marrow and the fat that has been rendered from the bones, and we cook the vegetables in that. And I have all these bones at about 375 to 400 degrees. You can go a little higher, a little lower, cook them a little faster, or a little shorter. But in the final analysis, you want to brown the bone to the farthest possible point that it can be browned before it starts to burn. Of course, at any time, if you develop any small carbon deposits of black burnt bone or parts of it on the bone, one would take a hand grater and grate that off prior to that bone going into the stock pot. All right, so that covers the placing of the bones in the pan and the putting them in the oven. We're going to come back with a little bit of time elapsed, probably in about a half an hour, 45 minutes, and we're going to turn these bones around and take a look at how they're doing. And coming back to making brown stock, roasting bones, and now turning the bones, okay? The bones that I have in this oven right here, about 45 minutes has elapsed since we put these bones in the oven for you, okay? Pull the rack out, and we're just going to move the bones around a little bit so you get a little bit of even browning going on in here. How do they say? Let no bone go unturned. You know, come on. There we go. They're looking good. And they probably got another 45 minutes. Now, you better not have been counting those bones saying, hey, wait a minute, I don't think he turned that one bone right there, okay? We got them all turned, okay? So we put it back in the oven, and we'll come back to that in, say about an hour and a half or so, or 45 minutes rather. What am I saying, an hour and a half? And then we'll take a look, and they might be done then. If they're not, we'll roll them around a little bit more and give them another 15 minutes, half an hour, whatever it's going to take. All right, we'll be back with time elapsed bone roasting. It's been 45 minutes since I spoke to you last about these bones. Now, we were in this oven right here looking at these bones earlier, and they're all done. And as you can see, all the oven doors are open for the bones that we put in earlier. Now, I'm going to take these bones out. They are looking really good, and we'll set them right up here. You can get a good look at them. And we're going to talk about the size and type of pot that the bones are going to go into here also. Now, this, of course, is a 20-quart pot, 22-quart pot, which is the size you would use at your house. This would be the medium size of the ones one would probably use commercially, and this would be the larger size of the one that one would use commercially. Now, heavy gauge aluminum, there's a reason for that. If you use light gauge aluminum or any kind of stainless steel for long-term cooking, the metallic taste of the pot will be transferred to the stock and the stock will be no good. And you'll have to throw the stock away. It'll be that no good, okay? So heavy gauge aluminum is very important, okay? Which is what we have here. And I'm going to take the bones from this particular pot. I'm going to put them in here. Ouch. You'll notice that the bottom of this roasting pan here is loaded with fat. That is, of course, the melted marrow. See, there's a marrow bone right there that you can see through now because all that marrow is right here. And we're going to cook our vegetables, the celery, carrots, and onions, also referred to within the language of cooking as mirepoix, into the stock pot. Mirepoix would always include the idea, of aromatic vegetables, okay? These are nice looking bones, and they have a nice brown color. Now, one of the differences between browning the bones, of course, and the vegetables that go into the pot is vegetables don't brown the same way bones do. So you would never try to get the vegetables brown. You want to get them a little brown, but that's all you're going to get out of them is a little brown. Main thing is that they're really cooked and they're really tender. All right, so now we got ourselves a pan full of marrow here. So I'm going to just give this a little bit of flame here. We're going to add some onions. And some carrots. And some celery. And the idea that one wouldn't use the leaves of the celery, although is well intended, is certainly not a strict rule of thumb when making stock. It doesn't make the stock bitter just because the leaf has a slightly bitter taste to it. Okay. Now, of course, this roasting pan is not designed for stovetop cooking. I'm just getting it warmed up a little bit. And we're going to put some dried leaf thyme on there. And we're going to put some bay leaves on here. And we're going to mix that up a little bit. Now, if your bones don't have enough marrow to satisfy the needs of cooking the vegetables in some fat, then supplement that marrow with a little bit of butter or some olive oil so that you have enough oil to transfer the heat to the vegetables and cook them. Okay, so now I'm going to pop this back in that oven that the bones were in, and we'll finish cooking the vegetables in the oven. Now we're going to time-elapse the cooking now. And the removal of all these other bones, I'm going to get them all divided into these two pots here, which is the amount of pot space I think I need for this much bone. We're going to divide them all in here and get all the mirepoix cooking in the oven. And then when all the mirepoix is cooked, we're going to come back on a time-elapse basis, which